There's a photo from 2017, Alex Eala, 12 years old holding a trophy and right next to her, arm around her shoulder, smiling just as big as another girl the same age, the same dreams, her doubles teammate, her training partner, her closest friend. They had just won a junior tournament together, the third title that year. They were inseparable, trained together 6 days a week, shared everything. Tennis strategies, personal challenges, goals, fears. They talked about turning pro together, making the tour together, maybe even winning Grand Slams and doubles together. They were more than teammates. They were sisters, connected by shared sacrifice and shared dreams. That photo is still on Alex's phone, but she hasn't looked at it in years because seeing it hurts too much. Because that girl, her closest friend, her doubles teammate, her sister in tennis, became her biggest competitor. And worse than that, she betrayed her, revealed her training strategies, shared information about Alex's injuries with opponents, destroyed the trust that had taken years to build, all in the pursuit of individual success. This is the story of how a friendship ended, how competition destroyed what should have been unbreakable, and how Alex learned the toughest lesson in professional sports, that sometimes the people closest to you become the ones who hurt you the most. Let's go back to the start. Alex met Maria when they were both 11 years old at a tennis academy in Manila. Maria Santos, Filipino like Alex, the same age, the same skill level, the same drive to succeed. They were paired as doubles teammates almost immediately. The chemistry was instant. On court, they moved like they could read each other's minds. Alex at the net, Maria at the baseline, or vice versa, it didn't matter, they simply worked. Off court, they became best friends just as quickly. They finished training and sit on the bench for hours talking about tennis, about school, about their families, about boys they liked, about the future they imagined. They'd sleep over at each other's houses, study together, watch tennis matches together, and analyze the players. They were inseparable, and their results proved the partnership worked. At 12, they won 3 junior tournaments together. At 13, 5 tournaments. At 14, they won the National Junior Doubles Championship. They were the best junior doubles team in the Philippines. Everyone knew them. Everyone expected them to go pro together eventually, but underneath the success, subtle differences were already forming, differences that didn't matter at first but would later grow into cracks. Alex was naturally more gifted. Her ground strokes were cleaner, her serve was stronger, her court awareness was better. Maria had to work harder to keep up. She stayed on the court longer, hit more balls, drilled more, and she did keep up, but it required more effort and more sacrifice. Alex could miss a day of training and still perform well. Maria couldn't afford to miss. That created a slight imbalance, not in their friendship but in their internal sense of who was carrying whom. Maria began to feel like she was Alex's sidekick, the Robin to Alex's Batman, and she resented it, not consciously at first, but the feeling was there, growing quietly. By the time they were 15, Alex was starting to succeed in singles as well. She'd win junior singles tournaments, get noticed by scouts, be invited to international events. Maria's singles results were solid but not exceptional. She was a strong player, top 100 juniors but not top 20 like Alex, and people started talking about Alex as a future pro. They didn't talk about Maria Santos that way. She was always Alex's doubles partner, never her own identity, never the star, always the supporting character in someone else's story. At 16, Maria's family hired a new coach, a Serbian coach named Victor who had worked with professional players before. Victor had a reputation for building tough, competitive athletes. He didn't believe in friendship on tour. He believed in winning. When he started working with Maria, he asked her what her goals were. She said she wanted to go pro, play the WTA tour, maybe compete in Grand Slams. Victor asked, in singles or doubles? Maria said, both. Victor shook his head. You can't do both at the highest level, not realistically. You have to choose, and if you're serious about singles, you need to train differently, you need to stop dividing your focus, and honestly, you need to stop being so close with Alex Eala. Maria was stunned. What? Why? Victor explained. Because she's better than you in singles, and as long as you're training together, you'll always be in her shadow. You'll always be the doubles partner, never the singles player. If you want to succeed on your own, you need to separate, train independently, develop your own identity, and stop being Alex's friend and start being her competitor. Maria didn't agree right away. She argued, Alex is my best friend. We've trained together for 5 years. We're going to turn pro together. Victor was direct. Then you'll go pro as her doubles partner. And when she no longer needs you, when she focuses on singles, you'll be left behind. Is that what you want? The words hurt because they touched a fear Maria had been trying to avoid. What if Victor was right? What if staying close to Alex meant never becoming her own player? What if their friendship was actually holding her back? Over the next few weeks, Victor kept applying pressure. He'd make remarks during practice. Alex wouldn't miss that shot. Alex would have reached that ball. You know, Alex is training right now while you're resting. It was psychological manipulation meant to create separation, to turn admiration into resentment, to make Maria see Alex not as a friend but as a rival, an obstacle, someone who needed to be beaten, not supported. And slowly it worked. Maria began distancing herself from Alex. At first it was subtle. Maria would skip their usual post-training conversations, say she had to go home, had homework, had other responsibilities. Alex noticed but didn't think much of it. People get busy. Then Maria started canceling doubles practice. She said she needed to focus on her singles game, Victor's instructions. Alex was disappointed but understood. They were both getting older, both chasing professional careers. It made sense to prioritize single. But then Maria stopped replying to texts, stopped returning calls, stopped sitting with Alex at tournaments. And when Alex confronted her, asked if something was wrong, Maria was distant. "Nothing's wrong, I'm just focused on my career, you should understand that." Alex tried to brush it off. "I do understand, but we can still be friends, right?" Maria's reply was cold. "We're competitors now, Alex, not friends," and she walked away. Alex stood there confused and hurt. What had happened? What had she done? She replayed every conversation, every interaction, trying to find where the friendship had broken, but she couldn't. It felt like Maria had decided overnight that their years of friendship meant nothing. The real betrayal came 6 months later. Alex was training for a major junior tournament. She had been dealing with a lingering shoulder issue, nothing serious, just inflammation from overuse. She was managing it carefully, icing after practice, adjusting her serve slightly. She had told Maria about it months earlier, back when they were still close, mentioned it casually. "My shoulder been bothering me, I'm being careful." Maria had been supportive then. "Make sure you rest it, don't push too hard." But that was before Victor, before the separation. Now, days before the tournament, Alex began hearing rumors. Opponents seemed to know about her shoulder. They targeted it, hit shots to her forehand side, forced her to stretch and rotate, asked about it mockingly. "How's the shoulder, Alex?" She couldn't understand how they knew. She had only told her coach, her physio, and Maria. One night, a friend sent Alex a screenshot. It was from a group chat that Maria was part of with several other junior players. And in the chat, Maria had written, "Heads up if you're playing Alex Eala. Her right shoulder is injured, she's been icing it every day. Her serve is weak on the ad side and she can't hit inside-out forehands without pain. Target her forehand. Make her extend, she'll break down." Alex stared at the screenshot in shock. Her best friend, the person she had trusted more than anyone, had shared her injury details with competitors, had told them exactly how to exploit her, had turned trust into a weapon. The betrayal was so complete, so overwhelming that Alex couldn't even cry at first. She just sat there numb, rereading the message again and again, trying to reconcile the Maria she thought she knew with the Maria who would do this. Eventually, the numbness turned into anger, then rage. Alex wanted to confront her, wanted to yell, wanted to ask how she could do something so cruel, but part of her new confrontation wouldn't change anything. Maria had made her choice. She had chosen her career over their friendship, winning over loyalty. And no amount of shouting would undo that, but Alex needed answers, needed to hear Maria say it directly, so she texted her, "We need to talk tomorrow before practice." Maria replied later, "Fine." They met at the academy early the next morning before other players arrived. Alex brought her phone, pulled up the screenshot, showed it to Maria without saying a word. Maria looked at it, then looked at Alex. Her expression was defensive, almost defiant, so Alex's voice was trembling. "So that's all you have to say? You shared my injury information with opponents. You told them how to hurt me and all you can say is so." Maria crossed her arms. "It's not personal. It's tennis, everyone shares information, it's part of the game." Alex shook her head. "No, this is personal, this is betrayal. You were my best friend, I trusted you and you used that trust against me." Maria's face hardened. "We're not friends anymore, Alex, we're competitors, and in competition you use every advantage. You would do the same if you were smart." Alex felt like she'd been punched. "No, I wouldn't, because I actually valued our friendship. I thought it meant something." "I thought you meant something," Maria replied coldly. "Our friendship was holding me back. Victor helped me realize that. I'm better off without you. My results have improved. I'm finally being recognized on my own, not as Alex Eala's doubles partner. So yes, I shared the information and I'd do it again." Alex looked at her former best friend and realized she was facing a stranger. This wasn't the girl she'd won tournaments with. It wasn't the girl she'd shared secrets with. It wasn't the girl she'd considered a sister. This was someone else, someone reshaped by ambition and a toxic coach into believing that ruthlessness equaled strength. Alex took a breath and said quietly, "I hope it was worth it, losing your integrity, losing someone who truly cared about you. I hope the wins are worth it." Maria didn't reply, just turned and walked away. And that was the last real conversation they ever had. From that moment on, they were strangers, worse than strangers, rivals. A month later, the tournament draw was released, and by cruel coincidence, Alex and Maria were set to face each other in the semi-finals. The tennis gods have a sense of irony. This would be their first head-to-head match since the betrayal, since the friendship ended. The tennis community was buzzing, everyone knew about the fallout, everyone knew there was bad blood. This match wasn't just about tennis, it was personal. Alex tried to prepare as if it were any other match. She followed her routine, studied Maria's game, worked on strategy with her coach, but she couldn't escape the emotional weight. She would be playing against the person who knew her game better than anyone, who knew her weaknesses, her habits, who had trained with her for 5 years. But more than that, she would be playing against the person who had betrayed her, who had hurt her, who had chosen ambition over friendship. And part of her wanted revenge, wanted to crush Maria on court, wanted to make her regret the choice she had made, betrayal. But another part of her just felt sad, sad that it had come to this, sad that competition had destroyed something beautiful. The match was tense from the very first point. The crowd sensed the drama, knew the history. Every point felt heavy, every winner felt like a message. Alex won the first set 6-4. She played steady, controlled tennis. Maria fought hard but made more mistakes. Between sets, Alex looked across the net at Maria, saw her sitting with Victor, who was talking intensely, gesturing, strategizing, and Alex felt nothing. No anger anymore, no sadness, just emptiness. This person had once been her best friend, now she was simply another opponent. The second set was tighter. Maria raised her level, started hitting bigger shots, taking more chances, and it worked. She broke Alex's serve at 5-all and served for the set. At 30-all, Maria hit a strong serve down the tee. Alex barely got her racket on it. The return floated long. 40-30 set point for Maria. The next point was a long rally, 20 shots, both players running, both refusing to give in. Finally, Alex hit a forehand down the line. Maria stretched for it, got it back but short. Alex moved forward, Maria tried a passing shot, Alex volleyed it away. Deuce, set point save. The set went to a tiebreak, and tiebreaks are where mental toughness is tested. Alex jumped out to a 4-1 lead, but Maria fought back to 4-all. Then Alex earned a mini break at 5-4 and held her serve at 6-4, double match point. Maria served, Alex returned deep. Maria hit a forehand that landed just long, match over. Alex won 6-4, 7-6. She had beaten her former best friend. She proved that the betrayal hadn't broken her. She proved she was the better player, even without secrets, even without tricks, even without shared information, just pure tennis, pure skill, pure mental strength. They met at the net for the handshake. Maria's hand was limp, her eyes down. Alex shook it and said nothing. What was there to say? The match was over. The friendship had ended long before. Alex walked off the court feeling empty. She had won, but it didn't feel like victory. It felt like loss, because winning against Maria used to mean they both succeeded, winning together as a team. Now winning meant someone had to lose, and that someone used to be her best friend. In the months and years that followed, Alex and Maria crossed paths occasionally at tournaments. They never spoke, never acknowledged each other beyond the required handshake when they played. Maria's career didn't take off the way she had hoped. Despite Victor's promises, despite the ruthless focus, despite sacrificing her friendship with Alex, Maria stalled. She's currently ranked around 150 in the world. Good professional but not elite. Not the top player she believed she would become by cutting ties with Alex. Alex, meanwhile, climbed into the top 50, won titles, reached semifinals at major tournaments, achieved the success Maria thought required betrayal. But Alex did it with integrity, with loyalty to the people who supported her, without leaking information, without stepping on friends. Looking back, Alex realizes that Maria's betrayal, as painful as it was, taught her something important. It taught her that not everyone values relationships the same way, that some people will sacrifice anything for success, that in professional sports, friendship is often the first casualty of ambition. And it taught her to be cautious, to protect her trust, to not assume that because someone trains with you or wins with you, they are truly on your side. In a recent interview, Alex was asked about the situation. The interviewer framed it carefully. "You and Maria Santos used to be close. What happened?" Alex paused before answering. "We grew apart. Sometimes in competitive sports, especially individual sports like tennis, relationships change when you're competing for the same goals. Maria made choices about how she wanted to pursue her career. I made different choices. We're on different paths now." The interviewer followed up. "There were rumors that she shared information about your injuries with other players. Is that true?" Alex's expression stayed neutral. "I don't want to get into details. What I will say is that I learned a lot from that friendship, about trust, about loyalty, about what I value in the people around me. And I'm more careful now, more protective of my inner circle. Because when you're trying to succeed at the highest level, you can't afford to have people close to you who don't have your best interests at heart, whether that's in tennis or in life." The interviewer asked one final question. "Do you miss the friendship?" Alex paused, and for the first time her composure cracked slightly. "I miss what I thought the friendship was. I miss the 12-year-old version of us winning junior tournaments and believing we'd be best friends forever. But the friendship I thought we had, I don't think it was ever real, or at least it wasn't real for her. Because real friendship doesn't disappear the moment competition enters the picture. Real friendship survives disagreement, distance, and even rivalry. What we had was conditional. It depended on us being equals. The moment she felt I was ahead, the moment she felt she was in my shadow, she was willing to destroy it. So do I miss it? I miss the idea of it. But the reality, no, I don't miss something that was never built to last." That answer went viral. Thousands of people commented, some relating their own experiences of friendships destroyed by competition, others debating whether Maria's actions were justified. The tennis world is divided. Some say Maria did what she had to do, that professional sports are ruthless, that information sharing is common, being naive or overly sensitive. But others see it differently. They see it as a line being crossed. Because there is a difference between competition and betrayal, between being rivals and being ruthless, between wanting to win and weaponizing trust. Maria could have distanced herself from Alex without leaking injury information, could have focused on her own career without undermining someone else. She could have ended the friendship with honesty instead of betrayal. But she didn't. She chose the path that caused the most damage, and that's what makes it unforgivable in many people's eyes. Not the rivalry but the method, not the ambition but the betrayal. Alex has moved on. She doesn't think about Maria often. She doesn't follow her results. She doesn't engage when journalists ask about their past. She's built a new team, new training partners, new friendships, though admittedly more guarded ones. And she's successful, more successful than Maria, which isn't the point, but it's a fact. The betrayal didn't destroy her. If anything, it strengthened her, made her tougher, more resilient, more aware that the path to the top is lonely, that you can't trust everyone, that friendship and professional sports exist in a complicated space where sometimes they don't mix. There's a lesson in this story that goes beyond tennis. It's about how competition reshapes relationships, how ambition can poison connection, how the drive to succeed can push people to do things they never imagined. Maria probably didn't wake up one day and decide to betray her best friend. It was gradual, influenced by a coach who valued winning above all else, fueled by insecurity and comparison, justified by the belief that professional success requires ruthlessness. But the truth is it doesn't. Alex is living proof. You can succeed without betraying people. You can rise to the top without stepping on those who helped you get there. You can be competitive without being cutthroat. It requires integrity. It requires boundaries. It requires saying no to coaches or influences that ask you to compromise your values. But it is possible. And in the long run, it's more sustainable because success built on betrayal is empty. It might bring wins, it might bring rankings, but it costs something that can't be measured in trophies. It costs your humanity, your ability to trust and be trusted, your relationships, your peace of mind. If you're reading this and you've been betrayed by a friend in the name of competition, whether in sports, work, or any other field, Alex's story offers both validation and hope. Validation that your pain is real. That betrayal driven by ambition doesn't become acceptable just because it's common. That you're not weak for valuing loyalty over ruthless self-interest. And hope that you can survive it. That betrayal doesn't have to define you or destroy you. That you can learn from it, protect yourself better, and still succeed. Maybe even succeed more because you're not carrying the burden of guilt that comes from sacrificing integrity for achievement. Alex Eala's best friend became her biggest rival, then leaked her training secrets, destroyed trust, chose ambition over loyalty, and Alex beat her anyway. Not just in that semi-final match, but in the larger game. The game of building a career with integrity, of reaching the top without losing yourself, of proving that you don't have to betray people to succeed. That's the real victory. And it's a victory Maria will never have no matter how many matches she wins. The final truth is this: friendship and competition can coexist, but they require both people to choose them equally, to value the relationship as much as the results. Alex was willing to do that, Maria wasn't, and that's the difference. Not talent, not ambition, not even success, but character. The choice between being someone people trust or someone people fear. Between being someone who lifts others up or someone who tears them down. Maria made her choice. Alex made hers. And years from now, when both of their tennis careers are over and all that remains are memories and relationships, only one of them will be able to look back without regret. Only one of them will be surrounded by people who cared about them for more than what they could do with a tennis racket. Only one of them will know that the cost of success didn't include their soul. That's what this story is really about. Not tennis, not rivalry, not even betrayal, but the question every ambitious person eventually faces. What are you willing to sacrifice to succeed, and is there a line you refuse to cross? Alex found her line and didn't cross it. Maria found hers too, and she crossed it without hesitation. We know how that story ends. One of them sleeps peacefully at night, the other we can only imagine.